Marta, every great house begins with a bold idea from the people who imagine it into being. Berta and Orpha Westcott made the remarkable decision to commission Frank Lloyd Wright to design the home. What do you know about the Westcotts, and what might have inspired them to bring a Wright-designed house to Springfield in the first place?
Burton and Orpha both were really interested in new technology, so it's kind of fascinating to look at the story as much as we can tell. When they were working with Frank Lloyd Wright, having conversations about a new home, they were actively also discussing producing a Westcott car, first in Richmond, Indiana, and then they moved it eventually to Springfield, Ohio. So they were all about creating new experiences for themselves and their guests, a new way of living. I think that Frank Lloyd Wright is famous today because he had some really bold visionaries who recognized that he has tremendous potential, that he can present them with something very different than their neighbors had, and they wanted it. I think he just pushed the envelope while at the same time not losing the sight of human experience and importance of human comfort.
The story of the Westcott house is a remarkable story of survival. Can you take us back to the moment when people realized this architectural treasure might be lost and the community stepped in to save it?
The quality of Westcott's restoration was really in part of partnership that happened between the local community and Frank Lloyd Wright Building Conservancy. And it's really wonderful to have a national partner of this kind because they are devoted to really actively monitoring what is happening with the Frank Lloyd Wright properties around the country and really raising alarm if there is any of those in danger. We are one of the youngest public sites, but this partnership really allowed to intervene when they really felt that this was about, as far as the house is concerned, it was a final moment where the damage that happened could be reversed. And they stepped in and helped to coordinate, to identify architects, top-notch craftsmen who made this house the beautiful home that it is today. I moved to Springfield in May 2005 when the house was almost ready to receive first guests. And it looked wonderful. I was really impressed with restoration. What I did not know, that I only could learn from photos and videos of the process of restoration and how terrible the house was. First thought was, how did they save it? How did they believe that this house can be saved? Because it kind of looked beyond repair, quite honestly. The whole process that it took over the course of about 4 years of intense work to bring this house back to its original appearance. We're just gonna be always grateful to the original team to have that imagination that this could actually happen.
Now, historic preservation is rarely easy. What were some of the biggest challenges faced during the restoration process?
After World War II, the house was divided into apartments. It was due to housing crisis in the community. It was kind of a practical thing to do. At the time, too, the owner, I'm sure, appreciated the house, but didn't necessarily understand the value of it as we do today, of course. So over time, original elements were misplaced. The walls were painted many, many times. Woodwork was painted. There were additional walls that were built to accommodate all these apartments. The floors were damaged. There was a lot of water and termite damage, so the foundations were in really poor shape. One of the remarkable features of this house are sleeping porches, and they create this beautiful effect with deep overhang of the roof that has this unique Asian feel. That's because Wright was heavily experienced by his trip to Japan. They boxed in the sleeping porches. They created kitchens for those apartments upstairs. You no longer see this remarkable feat of engineering there. You just see a room like everything else. So that created really a shell of what Frank Lloyd Wright intended for this place to be. And this restoration would not be possible if not for a set of original architectural drawings that were found in Frank Lloyd Wright archives. Because there were so very few photos, it would be just impossible to decipher the arrangement that Wright had in mind.
Today, the Westcott House is much more than a historic home. It has become a gathering place for art, design, and conversations. How do you think Wright's philosophy supports the ideas of the house as a living cultural space?
This is important to us. It's been important from the very beginning. How can we do things in the spirit of Westcott? How can we do things in the spirit of Frank Lloyd Wright? And as I've been here for over 20 years, and I think that at the beginning we were trying to find our way. The house was beautifully restored, but it was missing number of key furniture pieces. There was a lot of things that we still had unanswered. So I think there was kind of a sense of inferiority complex, comparing with some other more established Frank Lloyd Wright sites. And we were trying to make things up in a sense that, okay, let's bring a contemporary artist and let's bring a musician. Let's make it a living house. Let's put contemporary art on the walls of this house. And as I look back, I'm thinking we truly experimented. And not all the experiments worked, but that was really essential to finding our own identity as a Frank Lloyd Wright site.
Standing inside the remarkable prairie-style home designed by Frank Lloyd Wright, what do you think the house is still trying to communicate to us more than a century after it was built? And what does it mean for Springfield to be home to one of Wright's designs?
It is incredible that we have a Frank Lloyd Wright house in Springfield. And it is so unique for Springfield, but it's also unique for the region and for the state. And it was so close to us losing it. I think also to have a home, this used to be a private home of a family, to have it turn into public site, a site that can be a resource to people, whoever wishes to come by and take a tour or attend an event or a program is welcome to come and explore the house. There is nothing better than see it for yourself, to experience it, to be in a space and feel it. It is a gift that I think the Frank Lloyd Wright community gives to the world, because it's an impressive number of actually public sites that are currently open around the United States, and we are part of that bigger family.